This topic of alpha and beta males is going to be a tough one, mostly because while I have definite views on the subject, I've never tried to put them into words. And the subject has many aspects, so this may be something I cover in future videos as well as I sort things out myself. The thing is, I may not say things as clearly as I'd like. It may be impossible to do so because there are so many definitions I've seen for alpha and beta males. Some don't believe in such divisions. Some definitions are self-serving, like this one. An alpha male is a man who is highly intelligent, confident, and successful. Alpha males are generally considered great leaders and prefer to be in positions of power. But an alpha is a personality type. Depending on who it is and how they use it, they can be unsuccessful or a jerk. But that's what discussion is for, and maybe future videos. If you look at some men's channels, or any channels that talk at all about relationships, you can pretty much expect a lot of talk about alpha males and beta males. Or maybe I should say alpha males versus beta males, because that is how it is often handled, with men being criticized for being a beta male, or, if you dare to disagree with the channel's viewpoint, that is one of the first examples of name-calling you'll experience. It wouldn't be so bad, except the label of beta male is typically used as a weapon to demean others, usually by people who pretend they are alpha males but are really just bullies, or people who can't stand someone disagreeing with them as if it will take away their man card. So much easier for them to call names than to make an intelligent rebuttal. Before going further, let me say I'm aware of other classifications beyond alpha and beta. It is a veritable vegetable soup of the Greek alphabet. But I'm just going to break it down to the basic alpha and beta because that's the two that are mostly referred to. This topic fits in with my view of the relationships between men and women, where each side seems to think they have to always get their way, and the opposite sex is treated like the enemy, none of which is necessary. In this case, the battle is men having some crazy idea that beta men are inferior. I'm not buying it. For one thing, pretty much by definition, only a small minority can be alphas, probably less than 10%. And it wouldn't be good for all men to be alphas anyway. A beta male may not be as driven to lead as an alpha male is, but so what? What's wrong with a man who just wants to do a good job providing for himself and his family? He may well be able to lead others, but he doesn't have a psychological need to do so. Speaking for myself, I never sought out leadership positions. I was quite content with doing a good job, but sometimes I was put in such a position. When I was an effective leader. But even then, I had no desire to use my position to boss people around. My focus was on creating a strong team and was quite willing to give any praise received to other members of the team. Suppose you have two very successful football coaches. Both receive a lot of praise for their successes. One takes particular pride in being a coaching genius, and it may well be deserved. The other may just be an adequate coach, but he works hard to bring in top assistants who make up for his limited abilities and have the chemistry to work together well. He takes pride in creating a top-level team of coaches. In effect, both are geniuses, but in different ways. The first would probably be praised as a great leader and coach. The other may be reading about how lucky he is to have a great staff. I'd rather be that second guy. Are there weak beta males? Of course. Just as there are obnoxious alphas who only care about being a boss and don't care if their attitude actually hurts a team. Alphas are neither better nor worse than betas. I bet many of you have worked for someone who has to constantly prove they are the boss. In my case, my area of expertise was one that few of my bosses had any experience with, and they admitted it to me. The good bosses I had let me run my program the way I saw fit, within their very general guidelines for the business. They knew my record was good, so that made sense. I was going to be held responsible for results and any problems in my department. So it was smart, if I'm responsible, to let me do things the way I knew worked best for my skills. But then I get a boss who, even after admitting they had no understanding of my job, kept nitpicking everything I did, telling me how to do it. Usually they were stunningly stupid, requiring I do things I knew wouldn't work because of my actual experience. Of course, doing it again just meant another failure. But they only cared about proving they were the boss, or in the alpha position. Success was secondary. The simple fact is, we need all kinds. But don't underestimate beta males. Not having a need to be a leader doesn't mean beta males are not often effective leaders. They just don't seek it out as a primary goal. Just as this flexibility exists in betas, it happens with alphas too, but in a different way. Because to some extent, an alpha is just an alpha in comparison to others. Put a bunch of alphas together and many will suddenly be more like betas as the stronger alphas take control. Or, especially if the group is small, like a sports team, too many superstars can result in a lack of teamwork as each seeks to be the top person. So forget about this stuff about a beta being a negative or an alpha being superior. Like all things, a characteristic can be positive or negative depending on details. Now, this doesn't mean you can't learn to avoid problems from someone in the other classification. Most of the references on channels I watch have to do with the idea that beta men get played by women. But the solution isn't for every guy to be an alpha male, which is an impossibility. You can advise men of things to watch out for while still allowing men to be whatever kind of man they naturally are. No need for negative labeling. You might also consider that the whole alpha-beta thing seems to come from the concept of a wolf pack. But human beings are not wolves, and our relationships are far more complicated. I submit that someone can be a beta male in most cases, but become an alpha in others. For me, that happens when I see unfairness. And are some of those who go around putting down beta men acting like they are true alphas? Are they really alphas? Or just being childish and insecure so they lash out at others? Being nasty to other people doesn't make you an alpha. Speaking for myself, I'm probably a beta most of the time, because I never felt a need where I had to be in charge of others. I've earned such positions, but never felt a desire for it. If it paid better, I might want it for that reason, but that's quite different. Wouldn't it be nice if men stopped with the demeaning name-calling and just calmly made suggestions to help people? Or not automatically go into name-calling mode if someone disagrees with them? Thanks for watching, and don't let the trolls stop you from speaking out.